Welcome back to another cast, guys. Today we're gonna be watching Stork, some Younggu, my favorite player in the world, versus herO. This is gonna be on Blue Storm, PvZ. herO, being that ZVP specialist that he is, gonna be an uphill battle for Stork, but oh my gosh, I freaking love Stork, so I am totally ready for this. This is taken from Stork's YouTube channel. I believe this was played on live stream on January the 15th, I believe, 15th or 16th. Either way, definitely looking forward to this. Oh, look, Stork has the shading on the minerals on. What a noob! What a noob! Anyhow, so we're gonna be seeing some pretty interesting stuff in this game. We're going kind of a throwback to the old days, playing on Blue Storm. This is not one that is played very often these days. Most people prefer more balanced, more open maps that allow players to kind of get 3 bases for free and then kind of move around from there. But instead, we're going to have Blue Storm, which is generally a very aggressive map early on. There's lots of little cool things you can do with this little choke over by the natural. It's very difficult for Protoss to actually wall off as well, this Forge Fast Expand, but Stork holding true to the mantra of Forge Fast Expand or die. So it looks like he's going to be delaying this hatch for a little while, but herO, being smart, went for the 9 overpull, so he's not going to have too much trouble clearing this. This isn't the end of the world for him. Wow, even going for the pylon block, being a little bit cheeky here. So this is going to be a little bit difficult for Stork. Stork, he wants to be careful about how he builds his next couple buildings, make sure that he's scouting out the number of lings that are popping out. It's going to be drones, so now he knows that he can actually delay a cannon for quite a while. He can actually go ahead and build a gateway first before then, but he's actually going to play it safe and go for the cannon first anyway. A little bit surprised to not see that natural thrown down quite yet for herO. It looks like herO really wants to make sure that he can get it down. Doesn't have to deal with that stupid pylon block anymore. Stork, in the meantime, very safe. Probably going to be heading into that Corsair play, Corsair DT that we see so very often. Anyhow, so Blue Storm, even though it tends to be somewhat aggressive in the early game, it ramps up pretty quickly once you get into the mid-late game. Actually, perfect timing on that cannon. Never mind, I take it back. Stork is a genius. The cannon up perfectly on time. Once you get into the mid-game, though, once you actually manage to secure about 4 bases on this map, which is not too hard. If you can secure that 3rd base, it's not too hard to go ahead and ramp up to a 4th and then a 5th base after that on this map. It becomes very much a split map scenario, and you have these long, epic battles over the gigantic ramps in the center of the map. So, lots of really cool stuff that we can see. Ah, so that's where the other expansion went for herO. It went down over at that mineral-only 3rd. So herO gonna be a little bit low on gas early on, but it's fine because in the ZVP matchup you typically don't need a lot of gas anyway in the early game. You really honestly need 1 gas up until the point where you're ready to take your 4th, so it's not a huge deal that he's a little low on this. Wow, great micro from herO. He's actually gonna be able to pick off that scouting probe with just a drone there, so very nice on the moving shots. We'll have to see if Stork goes into any sort of aggressive play, or if he's going to go into a tech play. It looks like with that assimilator at the natural, definitely going to be a tech play. Not surprised at all to see that. It'll probably be going into those Corsairs very shortly. Meanwhile, sending over a Zealot to harass. Ooh, trying to be tricky over here is herO, trying to hide his lair, but not going to work. And that's going to be scouted out by Stork immediately. Nice little drone drill there to get a little bit more effectiveness out of these drones. But that one Zealot is going to be very annoying. Meanwhile, Stargate started for Stork. Definitely going to be ramping up pretty soon. Meanwhile, just... oh my gosh, this is the most annoying thing in the world. And another Zealot coming in over here just to harass. This has kind of been the new style for Protoss players as of this year. They really have been liking just sending the first couple of Zealots out across the map to do some harassment. It's a smart investment because it forces the other players to kind of they spend more resources on defending than they normally would on attack, if that makes sense. So having to send lots of lings to different bases, you need at least 4 lings to kill off a zealot cost efficiently. So if you're sending 2 zealots to either base, then the Zerg player needs about 8 Zerglings, but if you're sending them both to one base, you can get away with like 6-ish if you micro really well. So it's kind of an interesting little dance, the way that Protoss players have been splitting up these zealots and doing a lot of harassment, just really causing Zerg players all kinds of problems. First Corsair is out right now. I believe the Cyber Core is spinning. It's honestly really hard to see, it's actually really fuzzy, but it looks like Cyber Core is spinning, so it's going to be +1 for the Corsairs and the Zealots. So going into a pretty standard game early on, getting that fast Citadel up as well. Wow, big Ling attack coming in right now for herO, but I'm not sure this is going to work. The block is really, really nice in this choke right here. It does eventually actually get cleaned up, but the Lings can't go anywhere right now, and the choke is still being held by this Zealot and a couple of probes. If this cannon goes down, that could be absolutely horrible for him. Is the cannon going to go down? Oh, it does manage to go down, but luckily another cannon started behind that, so this isn't the end of the world. These Lings will do a significant chunk of damage to this last cannon, but this is more or less held for Stork. At this point in time, I would say the Stork is slightly ahead because he managed to hold that, didn't lose too many probes at all. Seems like he's very nervous about a follow-up attack. He's got his units just kind of continually running back and forth, trying to make sure that another Ling run by doesn't come in. He's going to be able to hold for now, but he has lost a lot of mining time throughout all of this, and he stopped making probes for the longest time, so the situation for him could be a lot better than it actually is, but I think he's a little bit further behind than he would like to be at this point in time. Still very foolish for herO to actually sacrifice that many Lings to do almost no damage. Very surprising that he actually sent that next group of Lings in here just to destroy one cannon. Stork has stabilized, he's feeling really good. He's building up the Corsair count as well as getting those Dark Templars, starting to build probes again. So he's in a pretty good spot. And what's really annoying about this is this forces herO to actually defend back at home, make more Lings to actually defend. And Stork's just going to run straight by this wall if he doesn't even care. Not at all worried. It looks like he might actually be taking a third base behind this as well. Again, forcing out more Lings at this point in time is very obnoxious for the Zerg player who just spent a ton of money just building a ton of Lings that didn't actually do anything. These 2 Mutalisks will be able to eventually clean this up, but essentially this mineral line is forfeit right now, and the Spire actually can be focused down as well. First DT out right now, going to start moving out across the map, start doing some sick damage. That is a lot of Scourge, but I guess that makes sense when you're going for this sort of Mutalisk play. However, +1 is really nice for the Corsairs. They're just trying to lure these in. They're actually going to kill a ton of these Scourge. Wow, herO just not paying attention. Going to lose a ton of Scourge over there. 2 cannons. And even though this DT was trying to run by, he's not going to quite make it. Cannon's going up at the third base for Stork. And he's actually in a pretty good spot right now. He's deflected a lot of the early pressure. He's got an Archon, he's got plenty of Corsairs, and he can actually do a timing attack off the back of this. If he adds a couple more gateways at this point in time, he can just flood a ton of Zealot Archon and actually just walk across the map and win the game. Let's see if he decides to do that, or if he's more interested in just kind of microing around, killing off a couple Scourge. This is very well played so far by our Protoss player Stork, who is my favorite player of all time. Have I mentioned? Mutalisks coming in now to annoy the main, but I mean, this really isn't a big deal for Stork. He'll gladly take a couple of losses in his main as long as he can go ahead and kill off all the Overlords. It's going to be a long time before herO's actually able to make units again, so this is a very nice play from him right now, especially knowing that herO doesn't have a whole lot left to actually fight with, so this is very, very well played right now. Ran into a Spore, but gonna walk out before he takes any real hull damage, so he'll be in good shape. And at this point, I feel like herO is just struggling. He's grasping for straws, looking for advantages anywhere he can get. These Mutalisks are going to have to micro like gods, but there's only 2 Mutalisks left. It's very unlikely that we'll see him get out of this in any realistic fashion that makes sense. More Overlords going down right now. Going to be able to focus these down. He's got to keep an eye on those Corsairs and make sure he doesn't lose them too much. And wow, I cannot believe how much herO is still continuing to micro those Mutalisks, trying to keep them doing damage in this main. This has actually been a pretty valiant effort, and he's managed to pick off quite a few. Very smart play by him. But now that the Corsairs are on their way home, they can go ahead and kill off these Mutalisks and deal with this. Very annoying pressure, but finally gonna get cleaned up, and that is gonna be the end of all the Mutalisks. Now it's just a question of, am I going to get Hydra busted? Do I have enough stuff to actually defend a Hydra bust, and can I actually do attack? And I think that Stork is definitely going to lean towards the attack. He's still only got 4 gates, which might be a little bit of a problem. He lost a lot of probes throughout all of this, despite his best efforts to kind of micro around that. And he's really worried about some counterattacks coming in, so he's got to do his best to scout around the map with these Corsairs right now, get a good idea of what's going on, and make sure that he's not throwing away too many units foolishly over at this third base. But +2 started right now. Looks like he's going to be getting Storm on the way. Still only 4 gateways. A little bit surprising to see, but he's going to be doing a little bit of pressure right here. Might be able to kill off a couple more Overlords. Here comes the big push. Without these units paying attention to the Corsairs, they're able to just walk in here and kill off all of the Overlords yet again. There's nothing that can actually be done. Looks like he's might be going for a Storm on the mineral line, but actually going to have to pull back right now. Very good split coming out from here, but great Storm to follow up. Great Storms with a plural. That it was beautiful to actually see. However, he's got to be careful not to lose both these Archons. These Archons are huge investments. One of those Archons did just go down, and meanwhile he hasn't really been able to pull ahead like he would like to. He's got his third base up and running though, which is nice. He needs to make sure that herO doesn't have a 4th base, so he's probably going to be scattering out just a little bit just to make sure that nothing's going wrong. And looks like he's actually just going to be transitioning straight into the late game with our robo facility, making sure that he has the observers really still very low on the gateway count. I'm surprised that these extra 2 gateways haven't come down a lot sooner. But now that the extra gateways are coming up, definitely allows him to start pushing it a little bit more aggressively. Found a lurker spot. This is very, very nice. Going to be able to start pushing in here. Good lurker blocks right now, but there are a bunch of Storms coming out right now. As long as it is Storm all of his Zealots, he'll be in great shape. Let's go ahead and clean this up. Beautiful stuff. Cornering all of those units right over there. Going to be able to kill them off with ease. But he does lose his third base mineral line in the process, but he's actually just going to go all in. Apparently Stork believes that he can actually win this fight, really has strong belief in his abilities right now. This might be a little bit crazy, but considering how much herO's lost early on, this could be a crazy enough strategy to work. He's got those extra gateways pumping. He can definitely reinforce quickly, and with this many Archons still up, he's still in a pretty decent spot to push forward. Accidentally storms his own Archon and loses it there, but for right now it looks like maybe herO's held. This may be a little bit foolhardy, standing right on top of the lurkers, trying to kill them off with the splash damage, maybe trying to be a little bit too cute for his own good. Gonna have to pull back now with those Archons. Wasn't able to quite break his opponent, but observers now coming out across the map. He's got lots of units pumping from these 6 gateways. Once he gets a good chance to actually clean up this lurker, he's going to be able to continue mining at this base. This is very well played. Overall, a lot of mistakes from both players. I'm not going to lie. There have been quite a few mistakes, especially from Stork. But he's in a good position now to continue. A little bit of lag. Okay, that was a little bit interesting. Looks like there was a slight delay in the stream. So he went ahead and cut that out of his video. In any case, we are back into the game. Couple more cannons going down on that middle line, trying to deal with stupid lurkers behind there. One lurker can definitely end the game, or at least force Stork into a position that he's not very comfortable with. Here come the Dragoons now. Very smart counter to the lurkers. You get the Dragoon observer count, and then you can kind of just push in. But still, only 7 gateways, which is still very low for this number of bases. He really needs to be looking to add more gateways and go up close to 10 to 12 gateways. This is a little bit of a dangerous attack for him to be doing without that sort of infrastructure back at home. Good job blocking that 4th base potentially from going down up in the top left. For right now, he can just sit back and chill. Lots of units coming in, though. Looks like this is going to be a big counterattack. But Stork is halfway across the map. Looks like he's just going to go for it. He's just going to go straight into the 3rd base, evacuate his own 3rd base. And I'm not sure if he has the storms in order to actually deal with this right now. This is going to be crazy right now. Here comes the big attack coming into the 3rd base of herO right now. Here comes the first initial storms on top of that ramp. Gonna be able to kill off a lot of units. Needs to not run his zealots into these lurkers, but wow, actually manages to snipe off 2 of those lurkers. All 3 of them. All the lurkers are gone. All the lurkers are down, and now Stork is actually pushing into the natural. The DTs are out. Is there an observer, or is there an overlord over here? It looks like there might be an overlord over here, but still, the damage from the DTs might be enough to actually clean this up. All kinds of units just flooding in right now. Gonna be able to take down one of the first sunk-ins. These DTs started to do work in the natural, but Stork is losing a lot of probes throughout all of this. He forgot to evacuate these probes. He's focusing a little bit too much on the micro in this particular moment. Be careful. Oh my gosh, all of the Archons are down, but all of the drones are down for herO as well. This is so close. This has gone so crazy off the wire. There's the GG. Well played by Stork. Manages to win with that base race.